Atlanta news first. Plus starts now with First Alert Weather.
First Alert meteorologist JD Dishern here, and just to give you an update on the forecast as we head through the next few days, we are going to see some isolated rain chances like we saw today, but for the most part, heat is going to be the bigger part of the story. We're going to be looking for temperatures tomorrow, going to be back up into the mid-90s, feeling more like the low to mid-100s, and that trend continues into Tuesday and possibly Wednesday. So it looks like by Wednesday, I think temperatures are going to start to drop just a bit, but it's not really going to feel any different because the humidity on the flip side is going to start to rise. So all 3 days, we're talking heat index values in the city looking around 100, 103. And the farther east you go, the more it's going to be. So Athens, Eatonton, looking maybe like 105 to 108. And that's why we do have a heat advisory in those areas as we head through tomorrow. So more on that in just a moment. For right now, though, here's some of those isolated showers that we're talking about. Most of them beginning to fizzle out, and as expected, most of the moisture is staying out to the west in Alabama for today. But we did have a few isolated sprinkles in the metro. Most of the moisture stayed up into northwest Georgia, and that's the trend we're going to see really as we go through tomorrow. And then Tuesday, maybe a little better rain chances start to work their way back in. So even at this 8 o'clock hour, we're looking still at 90 degrees here in Atlanta, 91 in Athens, 90 in Gainesville, 87 in Canton, 88 in Thomaston, 83 in Carrollton, 70s for folks up into Rome. They did have some showers earlier, which is why those temperatures are a little bit cooler. Now, these are the feels like temperatures. Again, this is 8 o'clock, 100 in Eatonton, 97 in Athens. We're talking 95 in Covington and Atlanta, 91 in Canton, 84 for folks up into the LJ area. And temperatures today topped out at 94 degrees. Morning low 76. Overall, looking at 4 degrees above average, and that's the trend a little bit higher even as we get into tomorrow. You can see in the live camera shot there the haze that's starting to work, not starting to, that's been there really all day across the city. Typical when we have this hot summer temps, and we're going to be seeing temperatures even right now about 2 degrees warmer than they were just this time yesterday. So, you know, the heat is starting to build, and like we've seen all summer when we've gotten our really big heat waves, we've had a few of them so far, it builds incrementally. It's not like one day it's average and the next day, bam, it's 10 degrees. It's only really kind of building a degree or so by day, but it does start to add up there. And we're going to continue to see that with this go-around. So temperatures a little bit warmer tomorrow and then a little bit warmer after that. Overall, though, we're going to be looking at temperatures falling overnight, but it's going to be very humid in the city for tomorrow morning. We're talking mid-70s inside the perimeter, low to mid-70s for folks out into the suburbs. And you can see here's those temperatures I'm talking about. A few places like LJ and Carrollton are typical cooler spots. Peachtree City, you can be added into that list, maybe some upper 60s, but I think everyone else outside of the North Georgia mountains are going to be looking at low 70s for tomorrow. Here's your feels like forecast. So this is what it's actually going to feel like on your skin. And that's honestly the more important number. I know a lot of people like to say, you know, we never had heat index when I was growing up. Well, that's because science evolves. And we're going to be looking at feels like temperature. The heat index is what it feels like on your skin. That's the important number because once that hits 105, that's the dangerous category. So it doesn't matter if it's 90, 95, 98. If the heat index hits 105, that's when it gets dangerous for your skin and for your health, because at that point, generally speaking, for most people, the perspiration and evaporation process from the sweat on your body can't keep up. And so eventually you're going to start to see the effects of heat exhaustion. And if you don't take care of that, heat stroke will start to kick in. We're not quite to that point in the city of Atlanta, but some places in our viewing area will be. We're going to be seeing most of us are going to be looking right around 100 degrees for the heat index as we go through the next several days. Thursday maybe taking a dip, and notice Friday it heats right back up. And here's those areas where they could see over 105, that threshold for the dangerous category. So it's going to be from Banks County, a line down to Upson County, and points to the east. So this includes Lula, Athens, Covington, Flavilla, Thomaston, all points east of that line. So just kind of keep that in mind. Winder, you're also included in that area. Enterprise is included as well. So if you're in any of these counties shaded in the orange, that's where we do expect that heat index to hit those dangerous criteria as we head into tomorrow and possibly beyond. They're only issuing it one day at a time, but this is the one we have for your Monday. So just keep that in mind. As for the heat risk, we are looking at a major heat risk for folks in the metro Atlanta area and to the east and south, not only tomorrow, but as we head on in towards Tuesday as well. And that kind of coincides with the warmest and hottest air that we're going to see move in here. So notice for tomorrow, we're not dealing with a lot of showers and storms in the afternoon. A few isolated spots in northwest Georgia, much like we saw today. And then maybe a few elsewhere, but it's not definitely the coverage that we saw late last week Notice by 11 p.m., model's starting to pick up a little bit on some moisture. I think that's going to be just outside of our viewing area. Basically, that's just going to be the boundary area of some really hot air. I think that's going to stay just outside of our viewing area, though. So, but keep that in mind. Folks in Eatonton, down into Thomas, you may see some lightning off into the distance for tomorrow night. Now, highs for tomorrow, look at this. Eatonton, 98. These are actual temperatures. 98 in Eatonton, 97 in Athens, 96 in Atlanta and Covington, 95 in Gainesville, 94 in Griffin, LaGrange, and Thomaston, and then, other areas a little bit below that. In temperatures, as we go beyond that into Tuesday, more of the same. It drops a few degrees, and that's because the humidity is start to rising. So the heat index actually isn't going to change that much. So we're talking 95 in Eatonton and Atlanta, 94 in Covington and Thomaston and Athens, and most spots looking at the low to mid 90s as we head into your Tuesday. Sorry about the graphics bloop there. We're going to move on from that one. Meanwhile, our temperature, or rain chances, I should say, stay on the lower side. 10% Monday. Best chances of rain are going to be Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday in the next 5 days. Wednesday kind of dips a little bit, but you notice no days a real washout here. It's more indicative of just what moisture we have in the atmosphere, the humidity just kind of wringing out a few showers and storms. And with that, you notice our temperature staying on the higher side of things. 96, 95, then 93, then 92, then 92. Average is 90. So this time of year, it's really hard to get 10 degrees above average. At that point, we're talking like 100 degrees for the actual temperature. But with the humidity in place, it's kind of not a really big shift. 3 or 4 degrees in the temperature. If the humidity is climbing, it just really offsets it with that heat index. Now, as we take a look, though, heading in towards the next weekend, that's when we start to see those scattered showers and storms really kind of start to work their way back in. Maybe for Friday as well. Models have been seesawing back and forth on Friday, which happens to be our next Braves on Gray Day. And I'll zoom in on Friday in just a moment. But for the most part, it's just hot. It's July, and it's hotter than average. So, unfortunately, that means not a lot of moisture in place. A few isolated showers and storms for your Monday. But the heat, again, is the big story. Now, look at Tuesday and our plots for our Tuesday afternoon. So, keep in mind, humidity is building. So, this is when we're going to be seeing those heat index values, again, 100 to 105, depending on where you're at. And low to mid-90s are going to be the norm across the area. Tuesday's also the All-Star game. Obviously, we have the Home Run Derby Monday night. Tuesday, I'm going to show you the temperature-wise. This will be about the same for Monday for the Home Run Derby, so you can really kind of just switch them out here. But basically, first pitch on Tuesday, American League versus National League. Obviously, it's a big deal. Folks up into the Cobb County area where the Truist Park area is, it's actually where I live. I've been seeing a lot of the fans around, and it's actually been quite nice to kind of get out and go and explore the area. But it's just hot. So if you're doing that, do it our family did. Hydrate, lots of water, because even at pregame for Tuesday, before the game, you're just walking around, you're trying to enjoy yourself. It's 91, feeling more like 95 to 98. 87 for the first pitch, feeling like 91 to 93. And even going home, 84, feeling like 89 to 91. So it's just going to be sweltering out there. It's going to be that summer season. And remember, I know a lot of folks who go to the games like to enjoy a beer, maybe a cocktail there. That dehydrates you. So if you're going to be doing that, just make sure to get your water in your system in between those beverages, just to kind of keep yourself healthy and hydrated out there. And obviously, lightweight, light colored clothing if you can. I know some of you who are going to the game, your teams don't have light colors, you have darker colors. Just make sure to keep yourself and take the shade breaks when you can. Now, your forecast shows by the time we get into Friday, we're going to be talking upper 80s to lower 90s. Again, though, feeling like 100 degrees. That's our next Braves on Gray Day. So everything I just told you for the All-Star game, if you're going to be heading to the Braves game on Friday, keep doing all of that for then, too. If you're not going to the game, you can watch it from the comfort of your own home on Peachtree TV with your air conditioning and your fans going. So that's some great news there. Otherwise, it's just the hot pattern continues until next week. And even 93 is still hot when you factor in that humidity and the chance of showers and storms. I think we've all had and been involved in a hot summer day, and you get the storm that just pours a downpour on you. Only lasts like 15 minutes, and then it feels even hotter after that because of all that moisture. That's kind of the weather that we're going to be looking at for next Saturday and Sunday. So as we take a look at the extended picture, ignore the dates on this. For some reason, it's trying to update. Obviously, we are past July 11th right now, but this is good through the rest of the month. So, this is the extended outlook through the end of July, and it shows you that most of the country is going to continue to see above average temperatures. So it's just going to be a sweltering heat, not only for the upcoming 7 days, but probably for the next 2 weeks as well. So just kind of keep that in mind. We're not going to be seeing that pattern shift anytime soon. So otherwise, I leave you with this. Those tips I told you. Obviously, I'm going to go over them again. Lightweight, light colored clothing for the next few days, especially if you're spending prolonged periods outdoors. Hats and glasses to protect you from the sun. Lots of sunscreen and lots of hydration. Keep in mind, we're getting to the point with those morning temperatures, and I'll go back a frame to show you. Those morning temperatures in the mid-70s, once we start getting to the mid to upper 70s, that's really where if you don't have AC, unfortunately, that's where it starts to get dangerous because you're not really able to get your home to recover overnight with the cooler temperatures. So maybe consider, at least as we get through the next few days, of either staying with someone who does have AC or maybe trying to get a portable unit for a short term there, because that's kind of the heat that we're going to be dealing with. I'm going to be back on air on Feature TV tonight at 10, Atlanta News First at 11, and then Ella, Courtney, and Rodney are all going to be on air, streaming, and online for tomorrow morning. Other than that, have a wonderful Sunday evening and have a good start to your work week.
Stay up to date on your latest weather from the largest team of meteorologists in the Southeast. Download the First Alert Weather app for hour-by-hour forecasts and join us every weekday at 11:30 a.m. on ANF+. You can also text weather to the number on your screen, and we'll send a link directly to your cell phone.